Alright, welcome to the channel, and today we'll be talking about the Meze Liric, or Meze Liric, and this is sent out to me as a demo unit. It's on a tour, and they are not asking me to say or do anything other than my honest opinion regarding this, and this will be going on to the next person in the tour down the road. And I've actually already done a video regarding the Meze Liric as far as like my own proper impressions about over a year ago, so this is more of just like a refresher and my thoughts on it. And diving right into it, I think I'm just going to keep this as like a talking head. I'm not going to give you too much b-roll. I mean, if you want to see the Meze Liric, it's a beautiful headphone. It's, this thing is really gorgeous. So dive right into build and aesthetics, which have been probably done to death in most videos that people have done of these. It's beautiful. It's well made. It's built like a tank. It feels fantastic in the hand, has a nice texture to everything, and it's comfortable as all get out. Probably one of the most comfortable headphones you can wear. Noise isolation with the cups is excellent. Like, I'm probably starting to yell, but I can barely hear my voice, and I can't hear anything really outside of this bubble of probably about here. So noise isolation is good, and comfort is excellent. Build quality, fantastic. Diving into kind of the next parts of this, I kind of wanted to touch on a little bit, just real lightly, what like a luxury item is, because I feel that this is a luxury item. The Lyric is just, it's priced at a luxury price. It's built beautifully, it looks beautiful, and it has that polish of a luxury item, to me anyways. And by luxury, I mean just something that you're gonna look at and it's like kind of like that Bentley factor, right? Or like something that's just so well made and priced at a point where it's like, okay, that's a luxury item. It's not something necessarily that you need, but it's something that you want, right? And that's kind of like that luxury factor. And this has it. It has like that really nice like leather cup on the outside there, and like the little polish and points there with the copper, and just the overall build is just, it's luxury. It's a luxury item. And with luxury items, I find that generally, and this kind of leads into the audio side of it, like how I felt this sounded, and I'm going to kind of TLDR it right now. I have a bunch of notes I took on this, but the TLDR is, I feel like with luxury items, you also want to have them kind of be played safe, right? You want them to get along with as many people as possible. It's not something that you're not targeting a very specific group. You want a kind of wider group target, right? And so I think that with the tuning of the Meze Liric, they kind of did that. It's tuned, in my opinion, a little bit on the warmer side, and it sounds good. Like I didn't really have any major complaints. So if I was gonna have a complaint, it would probably be that it's, engaging without impact, and that's something that's like a theme that came through all the tracks I was listening to. And the other factor was I felt like, and by without impact, I mean like the low end, like the bass, like it had a boom to it, but it didn't have this slam or like that slap that I was expecting or wanting from a closed back headphone per se. But let's dive right into the details and stage and all that kind of fun stuff. The details were nice. They weren't overly done. I didn't have to go seeking for them. I didn't have to like strain to listen to hear details, but it wasn't like put in my face. And there's definitely things where it was a little bit soft in the details. Stage wise, it was kind of definitely narrow. It wasn't like this wide expansive stage. It wasn't, I didn't feel like it was super 3D or deep or what have you. It definitely sounded, not in my head, but it felt like I'm wearing headphones, right? So take that for what it is. And then moving into the songs I used, I have a bunch of notes here. So and I did about 5 tracks. I'm going to go over them real briefly. The first one was Evergreen by Yebba, Yebba, and I will actually link all the tracks down below so you can listen to them. When this one, it was a very female vocal, it's a female vocalist singing, and it was lovely. Like, she just has a lovely voice, and it just overall was a very fun track to listen to, and I really enjoyed it. Lyric handled it very well. It had one thing that I picked up, and this is kind of throughout the tracks, was percussions are crisp. That was one thing I kept coming back to. Like every time there was like a hi-hat or like a cowbelly type sound, like where they're hitting like a piece of metal or something like that, or even like a thimble or something along those lines, it was very crisp for whatever reason. It never went into sibilance, but it was definitely crisp. And I also noticed that with a lot of these, the highs seem to be rolled off, and there was, that's good because you never have to worry about it getting sibilant or too bright or something like that. Anyways, on to the next track. It was Feeling Alive by Earl St. Clair, and this is like an R&B bluesy kind of track, and he has a kind of not quite gravelly, but he has an interesting vocal signature, and I enjoyed it. It was fun, and there's like these really crisp claps that kind of go throughout, like that clapping hands kind of thing. And at the 46 second mark, there's like this one problem where all these instruments get thrown on at once on the track. So there's all these instruments come into play, and it kind of turns into mush with the lyrics. So that was something I was kind of like shocked with it being a planar, and usually planars are very fast and can handle usually a lot thrown at them. But this definitely got the, not quite wall of noise, but it definitely was like, ooh, that it didn't handle it the best. But it wasn't horrible, and it kind of moved on from there, and it kind of mellowed out throughout the track. And the next track I listened to was Leviathan by Tropidelic, and this is like a spoken word choral, like chorus kind of track, and I was expecting the chorus to be a little more overwhelming, like more like boomy and like more like enveloping, I guess, and it just kind of seemed a little pulled back for what I was expecting it to be like with the lyric. And it wasn't bad. It definitely still had that beautiful signature, and you can hear the chorus, and it was there, and it was nice. But just from my experience, I would have liked it to be a little more like overwhelming almost, right? It did handle some really good detail there with the lyrics and the signature of the sound of them singing and everything, and so one of the things is like the lows aren't as much, they're the boomy lows, so there's like a bass quantity there, but there's just that impact is missing to me. But it still has that nice bass like boom, I guess. And so I had a note here on the Leviathan Tropidelic. There is to listen for was the crisp percussion at the 1 minute and 56 second mark, which I thought was pretty kind of interesting. It kind of highlights that crisp percussion I was talking about. On to the next track is Don't Hate Me by Lola Young, and this is a new artist, relatively new, and I think she's a British artist, but I can't tell. She has like that kind of British accent, at least to my ears. And she has it's a very raspy female vocal, and I just dug on it. So it still has with these tracks a lot of that forward but while at the same time being withdrawn in the mids, which is kind of unique to closebacks in general. But this one definitely still, like, it felt that like I could definitely picked up on it quickly for whatever reason in my listening sessions, and the rolled off highs were still there. And I did notice for some of this track has some weird mastering parts where it definitely like doesn't feel like it was done the greatest for mastering, and these kind of picked that apart and made this track kind of fall apart at certain points where it kind of made it sound not the best. And there's kind of a little bit too much going on, which made it kind of sound messy and not the most engaging. So on to the next one. So my final track I listened to was The Night We Met by Lord Huron, and this one was, with the lyric, it has this rain that's kind of coming down throughout the track a little bit, and it wasn't in my face with the lyric, but I could hear it, and I did definitely have to kind of close my eyes and try to listen for that specific part, but I heard it, and it just added this nice ambiance to the track itself with the lyric and with its easy listening kind of sound profile, and it was nice. The other part with is the male vocals in this. He can get a little bit sibilant almost with his vocals at times, and with that forward but kind of withdrawn, it would kind of come out and it would not peak and not get sibilant, but it would definitely flirt a little bit with the lyric, but which was weird because it has that withdrawnness, but forward. It's such a weird thing once you picked up on it, and or at least for when I picked up on it. But it was overall enjoyable, and it never really busted over into the sibilant side or overly bright side. So that was nice. But it definitely would kind of push into that highs, or the upper mids would get kind of a little bit bright, but nothing too crazy. So yeah, I think with that, my final thoughts on the Lyric, kind of going into this, I already had the video from over a year ago. I didn't look at it, I haven't watched it. It'd be interesting to go back after finishing this video and seeing what my thoughts were. But yeah, I feel like this is a luxury item, and they played it safe. They played as far as the sound signature goes. It's beautiful. Feels fantastic in the hand. Like all the little textures that they did with the the hardware here, and the leather and what have you on the cups, and just the copper colors, and just the way it looks and feels. It's substantial. There's a weight to it. It feels luxury, and the sound signature is, like I said, they played it safe. I feel like they made the sound signature fit a wider audience than, potentially going for more of that audiophile signature, where they kind of, go towards as highest fidelity as possible kind of thing. And it's not a bad thing. Like, I think that's, you're getting, if you're paying a lot of money for something like a luxury item, you want it to sound good. And these sound good. At the end of the day, these sound good. Like, there's nothing wrong with these. These sound fantastic. There's nothing horrible about them. I don't really have any cons. I had to kind of, if I was to nitpick, it's because it would be that they don't lean further into some of that hi-fi or that audiophile preference of being super detailed, or like, fine tooth combing through like a track. But as far as like just engagement and enjoyment, yeah, these are good. These fit that realm, and I don't have anything really overtly bad to say about them. I'd say the only thing I really personally wasn't the most engaged with was that impact on the low end, and some of the detail is a little bit lacking for my personal preferences. And I think that the odd forward yet withdrawn engagement, or forward but withdrawn mids, were kind of, it kind of threw me off a little bit. But once I just kind of let go of it and just started listening to music, it was easy to just kind of float along and enjoy listening and sipping on some whiskey or what have you, and enjoying my music. So with that, I think this is definitely, if it's in your budget, it's a beautiful set of headphones that, sound quite good. So cheers, and I guess I'll catch you all in the next one.